I'm coming back with another video, and I'm gonna say, for anyone watching this, if you ever choose to do something original and authentic that has meaning and value, it will be the most punishing, isolating, tormenting, difficult, and disheartening thing that you can imagine. But there's a silver lining through things. So to give an example, I had actually predicted the future within about 5 minutes in the previous video, and it came true. So what I was saying is that um, uh, you can appreciate many things. Just you can appreciate so much of life if you can understand what a cycle is. In that most things are actually cycles, and they actually are they are imminent. So they I think they say now the Holy Bible would say that we have free will, but I think that maybe free will only allows us to make free will is more so. I think it lends itself towards worship and learning more than outcome in itself, because a lot of things, if you appreciate cycles, are really imminent, and they're almost set. Like I remember one time I was visiting a playground, and there was a older person there, and they had a small child with them, like a grandchild, and it was just the two of them at a park, and there was like one of these little it's like a like something that a child rides on, like a carousel, but it doesn't go anywhere. It just shakes in different directions. It's like a horse that just shakes in different directions. And a lot of times when you see an older person at a park or something like that, they might have their hands behind their back, and they seem very dignified and mature and regal, and not doing anything superfluous or childish, even though they're at ostensibly a child venue or a free a public place. But they're not doing anything silly, and that's why they look dignified. Their maturity juxtaposed with the children's freedom and playfulness is the older person. And I made a video about that, as saying that maybe in a certain sense, the greatest forms of maturity are forms of scriptedness, where you're just simply following the play and doing what's ready to be done. And that's the most righteous yet also fun thing to do, is just follow the script. You know, you go to like some of these men's dating forums, and they teach you all the right things to say and do, and they're saying, just shut up and follow just do the script, just say what wants to be said, which is usually more so less. And that's the best way to have fun with anything, especially women. But I'm not arguing that. But all I meant to say is that, so I saw this, but normally when you see a older person in a place like that, they're not being silly. But this older person, they push that little horse like that. Like it was kind of like they look kind of mean when they did it. I don't know if they were like, they just kind of pushed it for no reason, that little horse. They upset that rocking horse for no reason. But if you appreciate the reverberations of that horse, how sophisticated those reverberations are, I think if you understood the tensions at play, and then the angle at which that older person pushed that horse like that, you could more or less predict all the motions that horse was going to make. It would be very elaborate in terms of mathematics, but it could probably mathematically be done, the more or less what the, or at least the probability of how that thing was going to react like that. But it's similar with reality, I think, where a lot of you could appreciate that as cause. So reality is cause and effect. People would maybe get there's certain words where you just say that word, and you're already initiated into a cycle of cause and effect with your limited understanding of like propriety and morality. I won't say that word, but you might know what word I'm reaching for. And some people would say that to utter that word that has to do with reverberations, you are yet invoking and becoming a part of those reverberations. Or maybe you couldn't have said that without being within a cycle of another reverberation. Yet in the film, the works of Arthur Avalon, he said, could you enunciate that word and what that word means, you would have to be enlightened. So as much as some people say certain words, you actually have to be enlightened to say those words. As much as some people say certain diagnosis against people, you would actually have to be wicked to say that, I think, because there's an equal and opposite to all things. But all I meant to say is that you can appreciate a lot of things just simply if you understand cycles. And if you do so, you recognize that more so we're not so initiating the cause of anything, but we're experiencing the effects of things, and we're maybe participating or mitigating or bolstering or blundering the reverberations of things that we get to enjoy. And enjoy can be both painful and pleasant. We get to enjoy our engagement with something that is already set. So I was saying, if I wanted to predict the future, you can predict a lot of things just in terms of cycles. Therefore, a pattern of any kind is very significant. So they have, obviously where I live at, they have done something with the flight patterns of airplanes, where airplanes have been flying over where I live quite incessantly today, the entire day. So just based on cycles, now a plane just went by right there after one went by less than 2 minutes before. So I would say that if I wanted to predict the future, I would say that within about 2 minutes, another plane is going to go flying over. So you're going to hear another plane in about 2 minutes. I'm going to predict the future that way, simply by observing cycles that have been at play previously today. So you actually can more so appreciate the future just if you can actually grasp the present and what cycles are at play. And you combine the cause, you combine the initiation with the cycle, with the variable, and you can get just about close to what may or may not transpire to different degrees as you understand that. But what I meant to say is that a lot of things are a cycle, but that's a little bit different than where I was going. But I was also saying in this video that so I'm making this like on a Friday, and so I'm not having plans today. And a lot of times I was talking about how impervious the culture I am at is, because it's very difficult to access it and permeate it, that is, penetrate the culture I'm at socially, in terms of living situations, but also loving situations, friend situations, and especially work situations. And all of those redouble so here you see I predicted the future because yet another plane is flying over within 2 minutes. But the culture is very difficult to access, and sometimes but one time, what I was saying is that one time that I had access to I had a crush. I had an adult crush on a woman who lived in the same building as me for many years, where I live with family, and she was very beautiful, but she was kind of picky about like friends and lovers. But one time, I had the opportunity to talk with her, and I had always been attracted to her because I'm attracted to faith and intelligence, and she had a lot of that, and also communication. But one time I had the opportunity to share with her that I thought that true love is to regard the best interests of another person with your heart. And she was holding a Bible, and I had been familiar with the Bible as a young person because I engaged with it a lot. And I opened the book to the book of Mark in the New Testament, with I think it was 14 and 12 or 12 and 14. And I showed her the scripture of a point where Jesus Christ himself was chastening and reproofing his disciples after they had encountered money changers, which are like people doing loans, or which are users, or people maybe gambling, different ways of taking advantage of people with money. And we still have those people right out front with us today, and nothing has abated about that. But he said, hear now, O Israel, the Lord thy God is one, and thou shalt love thy God with all thy heart and all thy might, and thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself, for there are no commandments greater than these. And if you understood these, you have understood the law in the gospel of God. And she was moved that I could convey my understanding of the Holy Bible and share it with her in that one scripture like that. And me and her became friends right around coming into the pandemic, and I had some healing experiences with her, probably the most healing experience of my life. Not anything more sublime, profound than I had experienced in other places, but I simply got to spend time with her at a conference, and then also with her and a male friend of hers at a coffee shop. And I shared some of my background and experience that I had not shared with anyone at any time in life until I did that with them. And something about expressing that, it got something off of my chest, and I was able to communicate clearer after that. And also my humor came back, because I had been more so humorous and outgoing as a child. I was what's called an ambivert, because I was both extroverted and introverted. I was very outgoing with people, but I could spend a lot of time alone, like especially like practicing sports alone. That's probably because my home life was never enjoyable at any point in life to the present day, just because of some of the sibling rivalry, and then the problems with substance and anger around my parents, and also apologizing around my parents, because one of my parents apologizes too much and one is angry too much. But But I'm gonna keep going with this.